Welcome everyone to today's PowerUp. Today you have, I'm Jennifer Lanzoni and I'm one of the customer success managers for RecDesk. On the line with me is my coworker Tom, and he is also going to be presenting today as we discuss point of sale as well as some cool new features and helpful tips that we've been able to come up with during this time period. So for those of you who have never built your point of sale system, this very beginning part is going to be the most informative as well as the most boring part of the entire training. Because today we're going to go over the build. Tom, do you want to introduce yourself first before I start getting into this, or?
Yes. So my name is Tom. I'm also a customer success manager, and I work very closely with Jen. And I'm going to be moderating this. So as Jen is going throughout the training, feel free, like you were doing earlier in that chat box, drop me questions. I'll either do my best to respond to them, or we'll have Jen respond to the entire group, so to your questions. Also, at the very end, we're going to be presenting a surprise item to everybody that you are the second people to see outside of PowerUp this morning. So stay tuned, and we have some really cool stuff to show you later on today that has not been seen yet.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Tom. All right, everyone. So for those of you who are going to log into your system and you're an assistant director or director, these are pieces that you're going to be able to build. Your other user roles, they're going to be able to use this functionality, but they're not going to be able to help you in the creation. So to create it, you're going to log into your director site and click on the point of sale tab. Now, personally, I feel like creating item categories first is the important step. And you guys may not agree with me. You may decide you want to make your locations first, but we'll go over the whole circle of why I recommend categories being the first group that you work with. When you go to the item categories, you can click on Add New Item Category and state how you plan to group the point of sale items. And the reason why this is something that is so fundamentally important to start with is you're going to be able to break this down between areas too. So I bring this up because if you sell soda at concession stands at the pool and you also sell soda at your gym, but they each have their own general ledger code, you would want to create the category sodas for the gym and create the general ledger code that connects to that. I'm just going to pick a random one, so please just bear with me while I pick a random one. And that way, when you create items, the items are going to be associated with this general ledger code. And when you go to assign items to the location, you'll be able to filter by that category. You can also set the color that you would like your categories to come up as. So if you want all your sodas to be the blue color here, you would just choose that blue and hit select. And if you have any sales tax, this is where you would choose them from the drop down. Please keep in mind, if you don't have your sales tax or your general ledger codes made, to please go to your admin tab, manage custom lists, and either manage sales tax or manage your general ledger codes to get them entered. And that way you just hit save, and that's the first step of creating your item categories for your point of sale system. The next step is going through and creating your actual sale items. And before I go in there, Tom, do we have any questions that are popping up in the chat box yet?
Not yet.
Awesome. Okay.
While we're looking on that, I did have one question. Are they able to have multiple GL codes?
Unfortunately, per category and per item, you will only be able to assign one general ledger code. So if you have an admissions general ledger admissions item, such as an individual pass, you will need to create 2 different items to assign the 2 different general ledger codes.
Perfect.
And we'll go into that now while we're building our items. So we've got some great examples right here on the first page. We've got everything from some food and drink, non-resident, resident, beach passes, and court use fees. To add any new item, you're just going to click on Add New Item, type in the name. For those of you who are going to use a barcode scanner, you'll want to scan the SKU right now for the item. So if you're doing cans of, Pepsis, you can scan a Pepsi, and that way when somebody goes to purchase one in the future, you just use your barcode scanner to scan it, and you won't have to worry about anything else. Now, this is also something that I like to bring up. For those of you who may have a supersized point of sale system, maybe you're using us outside of just normal concessions or individual ticket sales, and you end up having a couple hundred items in your point of sale. It would be very important for you to use barcodes for as many of your items as you possibly can. And the reason we suggest that is because it's going to be much easier for you to just scan all those items, and the system will be able to keep up with the barcode scanning. But with the searching and having to search for those items, it's going to take a little bit longer, and the system will have some delay, and you may come across some issues, especially if you drop internet service during that time. Now, a workaround to this as well. If you sell a lot of items, maybe you're a golf course and you're a pro shop, you can sell all your pro shop items as well as your individual uses here. Just use one of those online barcode generators and create a barcode that will be when you scan for 18 rounds versus 9 holes versus when they do have a cart versus not having a cart. You can do all of that by generating their own barcodes to make it so your pro shop desk would be able to easily scan and function for everything that you need. Then you'll choose the category that it falls under. And if you choose a category, that has a general ledger code and a color associated, it will automatically fill that in. Otherwise, you can adjust that here. So you can always change it to a different general ledger code when you're creating the item. It's just going to default to what the category is. Then you'll want to enter the unit price and decide if you want to track inventory. Now, I want to be very clear on this tracking inventory piece because some people will use this as a bit of a workaround. If you want to track how many tickets you sell in the course of the day, just check this box off. Don't worry about the next step of saying how many tickets you have in stock. It's going to automatically give you a negative number every time somebody purchases one of the day passes. If you want to use our point of sale system as a workaround, maybe you're a gym and you guys hand out basketballs to your members as they come in, and for $1 they rent a basketball, and when they return it, they get the $1 back. You would want to track that inventory as well. That way you're tracking who took the basketball. So that at the end of the day, if you see that basketball number 16 wasn't reserved, you'd be able to see who was the last person to have basketball 16, and you'll be able to find out be able to search for it if you want, or worst case scenario, start keeping track and figuring out if it's always the same person who runs away with a basketball. I do have to make the bad joke that RecDesk did actually help one of my locations find that exact problem out. Somebody was the same person kept walking out of the building with the basketball every time they came to visit, and it was able to help them track that. Now, once you create an item, you're going to have a lot of information that'll pop up. Now, I'm just going to go off this individual path to show you a newer feature called CRM Plus. Now, this is not released to all of our customers. Some of you may have it, some of you may not. But this is going to be a really cool way to connect those inventory pieces and to be able to track within here. And anywhere you see CRM Plus within RecDesk, you're going to be able to put a note, document, or assign a task to it. And that will be assigned either to the item or the location or anywhere else that the CRM Plus feature is connected to. And this is where you can add documents and click upload and find your local drive. Or if you're using your phone and you want to take a photo because you're just really updating the inventory image, you can do that as well. But the coolest feature is tasks. This is where Tom would be able to say, Jen, we need to do a inventory and reorder day. And he would be able to assign it to me. Oops. wrong Jen. He'll be able to notify me by email and give me a date that I have to check that item by or that area by. This is something that, for the record, I do not need to be an assistant director, a director, or an associate in the system to be able to have access to the email. I could just be one of your point of sale shift managers or your point of sale cashiers, and I'll still get this email. It's just going to go to the email address associated with my RecDesk user profile. And then you'll hit save. Now, if you're just having your staff fill out these forms and leave them there overnight, then in the morning, your director would come in here, check that off when it's complete. Or if they are allowed into this piece of the system, they could check it off once they've completed the inventory. Now, do we have any questions about this piece of the system?
Not yet, but another great way to think about doing this would be as you're going through this, you can say, hey, can you take inventory? Jen would then take the inventory and say, hey, here's the items that we need to order. And then I could either reassign this back to her being like, hey, Jen, could you order this ice cream from the distributor and let me know when you're done? And or I would do that, and then I would be able to upload that invoice as a document all in this, and I could then tag Jen back saying, hey, the ice cream is going to be arriving on Monday. Can you make sure we have space in the freezer before then to account for the ice cream that's coming in, and also meet the person at the door to let them in? So it just brings a great way to you to be able to build in all of this tracking, so that way all of your admins are able to see and track inventory really easily using CRM+.
Exactly. Thank you for that input, Tom.
Yes.
Okay, so now that you guys have gotten your categories, you've gotten your sale items, we're going to move into locations. This is where you're going to say where your registers are. So you're going to click this Add Location button, and it will pull up your facilities list. So if you get here and there's nothing listed, that means you have not added a location to your facilities tab, and you need to have the location built on your facilities tab to start creating your registers over here. Now, I do know that for some of you who already use RecDesk and maybe you're already using our point of sale system, you may not see this View Registers button. This is actually an additional feature that we can turn on for you. There is no cost, just to be clear. It's just a feature we need to know if you want turned on, where it will let you create multiple registers for the same location, as well as have an open and close report for your cash register. So once you create your location, if you have multiple registers, you'll hit View Registers and add as many locations as you have. Be sure to label them so it's easiest on your staff to be able to see which items are available, or to see which register it is that they should be checking into. And then you'll want to choose your, when you go back to locations, you'll want to go back, so you can click on this, Manage Available Items. This is where you're going to say, what items am I selling? So we can pick a couple of items to put in there. Let's see what else I've put in here. Put water. So that's all I have to do is to add my item. Now I have a little bit of a preference. When I click on the registers button and then go back to the available items, it gives you a shortcut list of what items you've assigned to that location. And this gives you a brief view of what the current inventory is. So if you're ever wondering what's going on at that location, you can click on available items and see that here. But if you need to add inventory, because this is the first time you're selling t-shirts over there, I like this screen because I like that I can right click and open it in another tab. And I can click Manage Inventory. Now, as you can see, you're going to see inventory at every location that item is assigned to. So I'm going to go down to the Winnie's Dog Park, and I'm going to manually adjust that. So I can add 6 t-shirts. Now when I go back to Winnie's Dog Park and I see that list, I can now see Eagle's t-shirt has an inventory of 6. This is just a preference for myself. You can go around in circles to get here, whatever works best for you. But this area is where you're also going to be able to see your item history. Now, this is your great area to put in your start and your end date to see how many items you started out with, how many you ended with, units sold, and you can always start copying this information from the bottom right to the top left. And this is something you can paste in an Excel document and create a quickie checkoff sheet for your point of sale staff to always have on site to know what amount of items they're supposed to have in stock. Now, before I move into the actual point of sale system, are there any questions?
Yes, going back, we did have someone reach out and they were wondering how do they get access to the CRM Plus feature because they don't have it yet.
Right now, it's not available to all of our customers. We will be letting everybody know once it does become available. We have a few groups that are doing what we're calling pilot testing. For lack of a better phrase, there are a couple of groups that if they break it, they're not going to be upset with us. They know that it's a brand new release. As soon as it is available to everyone, though, we will be releasing it to everyone. If you'd like us to keep your name on a list so that we know that you'd like it sooner than later, please reach out to your customer success manager or email us at support@recdesk.com, and we'll be able to keep you on that short list to notify you the moment that CRM Plus becomes available for everyone.
Also, if you drop your email in this chat, I'll be able to collect it in this chat as well. But thank you, Jen.
I forgot about that piece, so thank you for the reminder, Tom.
Yep.
All right, now we're going to get into how to open the point of sale. And there's 2 ways when you're not logging in as the user role of point of sale cashier or point of sale shift manager. You can either go to the point of sale tab and click point of sale POS terminal, or over on the right-hand side, you can click go to POS. From here, you want to choose your location and you want to choose your register. Now, this particular register is not open, so I need to say the open cash balance. I'm going to start the drawer at 55. If you have a thermal printer and a cash drawer, at this point, you really want to make sure that you check that box off to enable them in order to connect them to your system during this process. Now, I am going to pause before I open the register so I can open the support center right here. This is going to take you to the article for which ones you can order, as well as how to follow all the steps. Our support center is also a great resource for if you want to know what barcode scanners we work with. You can start typing the word barcode into the search bar, and we'll give you a link. Now, the one that's linked right here is just a very common used one. Tom, however, is awesome and has found a, Tom, I forget the description. Would you mind filling us in here?
Yes, so there is one that's a little bit more expensive. It's about $100. However, it's a Bluetooth one, so it can connect to your phone, tablet, or even a laptop in case you're limited on USB ports. The great thing about this wireless one is that you can it has a stand, so it'll sit up. So if you have a self check-in station at a membership, or just for your general staff, this one, the one that's up on the screen, you have to point and squeeze every time you trigger the barcode scanner, but this other one will automatically scan as soon as a barcode is placed underneath it, which will just help germs not being passed back and forth, and it's also going to be able to scan QR codes and phone screens. So if you're willing and you need that extra bump in your barcode scanner, it's definitely worth the investment. So
and because we don't have that link up.
Yep, so we will get that linked up later on today. We unfortunately didn't get to it before this meeting, but we'll definitely post it underneath the support channel. So come back to the support channel either late today or early tomorrow, and hopefully it'll be there.
Thank you for that, Tom. All right, so now I'm going to go into the point of sale terminal and I'm going to open this up. So this is what the point of sale screen is going to look like. Now, my filter actually saved from the last time I logged in. I like this display as list option. That way I can read the entire button. When I look at it in the other view, it's just a little tiny. And although it would work for short named point of sale buttons, as we can see with this one, the whole name is not visible. So please keep in mind, you can change your views and it will sort of save them to the user and where you're logging in from so that you'll keep them and you won't have to worry about pressing them putting them back if you get logged off and then log back in again. And from here, you just pick the item or items and you can select multiple times to increase the quantity. If you have a barcode scanner, and I apologize, we're all remote right now and I do not have one with me, you would just scan the item or items that you would like to put in the cart. Now, before I show you a checkout, I'm going to pause. This is the only place in the system that discount coupons will work. And the reason being is it's easier to function within the point of sale piece. We've got some examples here like winning team, 25%, Xmas, employee discount. This is an employee 10%. I have even seen an employee free meal discount coupon added because some of my locations, the people who are working there, they get a free lunch. They get a free, sandwich and chips and soda or some type of variation. This would allow them to still process those items through the point of sale to account for the inventory loss, but change the amount that's due either to 0 or whatever the discounted rate may be. And then we click on checkout. You can either pay with cash, check, or credit card. Now, cash is pretty easy, so I'm going to go to the most complicated one, which is credit card. And there's a few things to be aware of here. The first, because there's no member attached, if you need to manually enter the credit card information, please be aware it is very important that you get your address information. If you have a if you have a credit card swiper, just switch the screen to the swipe card data and you'll be able to swipe the credit card and hit enter. Now, if you want to connect the point of sale items to your member, right now it's going to go to this general patron, which works for a vast majority of sales because it doesn't matter who's buying the water, it's $1. However, individual passes, day passes, things like that, if you want them to be linked to a profile, at least so that the invoice history is linked, you can come here and hit search, start typing in their last name and hit search again, hit select next to your member, and that information in. Just be aware, again, if you are manually entering the credit card and it pulls the member's address in, that there is a possibility that their credit card is meant for their office and is supposed to have their office address to it. I have had that issue before where it was just because they were trying to approve the credit card from the home address instead of their work one. Now, something to be aware of and to be a little cautious about, but it is a possibility. When you assign the member making a payment, you do have the option of using stored payment options. This would be a small workaround that you would be able to use for parents who want their kids to be able to just have a credit card on file to use at the pool. Now, I was asked earlier today, hey, we wanted to set a limit for how much money the kids could spend, i.e. the parents say the kids have $250 in their account to spend. How could we limit that? Truly, the best way to limit that is for the parent to buy a prepaid Visa and enter that prepaid Visa as the stored payment option so that it's labeled in a way that your staff knows that that's the one that they should be selecting when that particular child comes up. And that way they would just go like this, continue, okay, and it'll charge that prepaid. Now, this transaction has been declined most likely because my credit cards are outdated, but we'll find out if this is going to work. There we go. And next, it'll pull up a receipt. If you are connected to a thermal printer, it will automatically connect. Otherwise, you'll need to hit this print option and either print the full receipt or print a thermal receipt. Now, when I go back to the register, there's some other fun things that you can do. For those of you who do the whole equipment rental, and we're going back to the whole basketballs in, basketball out, what you're able to do is, I sold this t-shirt, so we're going to pretend that's a basketball. I give it back to the staff member. You would click point of sale action, process return, choose the item that's coming back, and continue. Decide if you're giving money back, how you're giving them the money back, and process now. That'll return the item to your inventory as well. Now, the one last piece in this area of the system to just review before I show you how to close the register is under point of sale actions, view recent transactions. Assistant directors and directors, if you've never used point of sale and you want to build it and play in it, please, please do. But please use cash or check as the payment options. Do not use a real credit card. The reason I suggest that is on here, you'll be able to void the invoices and it'll void the payment and it'll return items to inventory. But I can't be any clearer with this. Never, ever, ever void a credit card transaction in RecDesk. If you void a credit card transaction in RecDesk, it does not do anything on the processor end. All you do is lose the information for us to be able to tell you that that credit card transaction occurred, and here's a reference number. So please be very, very careful of when you're voiding that it's only situations that are cash or check. And when at the end of the day, when you're ready to close your register, you'll click point of sale actions, close register. Now I'm going to say I have more money than I should. And it'll create a shift report. Now, because the way I'm logged in, it's not going to give me a quick, easy printed version. However, your point of sale shift managers and your point of sale cashiers will automatically be encouraged to print their shift report. And if you need to reprint the shift report, you can go to the Reports tab, Point of Sale Register Shift Detail. Now, I just went through a lot of information. Tom, did I miss any questions along the way that I can go back to?
Yes, we did have one question in, and I remember this coming up during our morning session, but people are wondering if they're able to store household credit on their account, so that way when the kids come into the pool later on in the day, they're able to use the money that's on the household credit account to get something through the point of sale, which I know we talked about earlier on today.
At this time, household credit cannot be used in the point of sale piece of the system. We are looking into that as an option. If it is something that you really desire, please drop your name or email, and if possible, which organization you're with. If it's not obvious in your email, so that we can make sure to notify you when we're able to put that type of release in before it comes out, or so that you're not finding out on the day it gets released.
That was all of our questions. Thank you for everyone that's putting their name and email in the chat to me. I am capturing that and adding that to our list. So we'll follow up with you as soon as we hear more about all of these future enhancements as well.
Yes. And now, everyone, I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen. And if you have any other point of sale questions, please type them in. We will get to them. But Tom actually has an awesome new presentation to bring up that we decided to give you all a preview during this PowerUp. We did one earlier today, and we're going to be able to get into his part now. So he's going to go ahead and take over the screen. Oh, hey, there's the barcode scanner.
Yeah, look at that. This is what I wanted to show everybody. It's actually Megan, our coworker. She's also in the PowerUp, and she's already added this barcode scanner to our support center. So thank you, Megan, for doing that. This one, again, is wireless and Bluetooth, and it can work with phone screens, QR codes, and various different types of scanners. So then you can get just the scanner for $75, or you can also get the cradle where it will be just a continuous scan. And then anytime a barcode is present underneath it, it auto scans. So again, great way to have people checking into a facility or ringing things up and not have to touch it at all. So if you want more information about this, visit that support center. Again, it is now there. So one of the things that we've been working on, because I know a lot of you have been asking lately about email templates. And we get it. Email templates are really important, especially with the whole virus and COVID-19. Maintaining this connection and open line of communication with your community is really important. So today, we're going to be showing you some email templates that we are making available for you as of today. So eventually, you will all get a link to this page right here. And by coming to this page, it's going to have a quick little just introduction about what the email templates are. Again, this is the early steps. So you are the only ones besides one other training session this morning that has seen this. So be prepared for change. I just want to let you know that. So when you come in here, you can download our email template guide, and it's going to download this guide to your computer. Come back and download it and check every couple of weeks to see if there's new ones here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to exit out of this. And now, by opening this email guide over here, you are able to see all the different emails that we have available. So we have 3 emails that we're going to be releasing today. First one is going to be a newsletter that's going to be COVID-19, and it's going to be a soft reopen. This one is geared at trying to let your participants know about when your facilities are opening and what is your plan. A lot of you might be having some just real basic programs that you're going to be offering. Yoga, outdoor running clubs, things that you can still social distance, but you can still get people engaged. So we wanted to share an email template that you can use. Now you can modify these so they can be more program-based, or if you want to change the verbiage, we wanted to open that up. So we created a unique tool to allow you to do that. We also cover over when do you want to send this? Is it going to be scheduled? So it's going to go out monthly, yearly, weekly, and who is it going to go to? Everyone in your contact list. And then obviously you're going to send this one when you have a set reopen plan. We also wanted to give you some things to consider, like what are your hours going to be? What programs will you offer? And then in addition, give you some tips, offer some beginner classes, or make this post on social media as well. Use this as an opportunity to engage maybe with some community members that you haven't done that. So with that, we'll come back and we're going to actually build and send this email together. So I'll come back and I'm going to show you that later on. The second one is a facility request approval. A lot of you do actually approve facility requests as they come in. And this is a great way that you can offer up your facility reservations at a $0. You approve them, and then once you approve it, they get this email saying they have 7 days to log in and pay their bill. It's going to talk about the process of how to do that. And then this way, now you can approve facility requests, especially as you might not know when they're going to reopen. So on the flip side, we created the opposite email. We created a facility request denied. So obviously this one's going to go out when you deny a request. So with that, we're going to come back up here, email template. So I'm going to click on download right here. You're going to see that it's going to open up this link to a Google Doc, okay? Now, I do believe that for most of you, this will work within Google Docs, but I highly recommend you go ahead and you download this to your your computer. You will need Excel to edit it. So here I have this document over here. I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to open up this Excel file, okay? Now, within this, you can see that exact same email, and all the different parts that you have the ability to edit, we have labeled. So A1 points to this logo. So if I want to change that RecDesk logo to my own logo, I can upload a logo, and I'll show you how to upload logos and images later on below. Here, for this one, I want to link this up to my Facebook page. So I'm going to come over here to my Facebook page. I'm going to copy the URL. I'm coming back into my Excel sheet, Where did that go? There it is. And I'm gonna paste that right there. And same thing with my YouTube channel. I'm gonna paste our YouTube channel. For those of you who haven't seen our RecDesk YouTube channel, we do have a great YouTube channel that talks about all the different ways that you can go look at your facilities or money. So there's 19 videos just on facilities right here. So check it out if you haven't had the chance. But I'm gonna paste that YouTube channel right there. We don't have a Twitter page, so I'm gonna show you later how to delete that information. So with that, coming down here, I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit because I apologize. I know this is small for you guys. Right here, I want to update this giant logo right here, this image right here for B1. So what I'm gonna do is I want to replace it with this image right here, this person lifting weights. So what I'm gonna do is I'm coming back out to my internet. I'm going to postimages.org. Okay, this is a free place to go. You can come in here, you can make an account, and you can log in and you can create folders. So here are my stock images. I know not to delete any of these because these are linked to my emails. And if I was to send one of these emails out and it doesn't have this image here anymore, it won't be included on it. So what all you have to do is drag and drop your images right into this web server. And if I come back in here, you'll see that it's now there. And I want to link this one up to that email so it shares this image. So all I have to do is click on share. And I'm going to grab this direct link. Okay. Now I know this is a lot of steps, so you will also be getting a video walkthrough of this as well. So you can go through it step by step and pause me as you go. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm coming back into Excel. And right here, I want to replace this image. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to delete this one and just paste my new one. Now, when I send this email, I'll actually be able to preview it. It will have that person lifting weights. For the opening our doors on May 1st, we're already past that point. We're going to be opening up our doors on June. So I'm just going to put in June 1st. And I can change any of this information in any of these body paragraphs that I need to. This is a button down here, so I can put in a URL back to my Cherry Court or my own personal page. So to do that, I can just link this up right there, and now that button will be an interactive button taking me back to my community page. Down here, again, the same thing. I'm not going to continue to go through all of this with you, but you're just walking your way down through and you're either filling in text headers or body paragraphs. Once that is all done, we automatically generate all of the code. All of this stuff that you don't want to look at, you don't need to learn it, we generate that for you. So I'm going to copy parts 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to select all of them. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to right click, I'm going to copy, and it says to go and paste this in a Word document. So I'm going to open up Microsoft Word. This is key. You have to paste it into Microsoft Word. So I'm going to paste it, and you can see it all looks kind of funny. It's falling off the screen. That is completely okay. Now, since you saw that I copied the whole entire column, I'm just going to scroll through, and I'm going to delete this section right here because I don't want that to be in that email. And what I also want to do is I want to delete this part 3. And now my instructions are telling me that I need to select everything and copy it into my HTML email. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to select all, and I'm going to right click and copy it again. So now I'm ready to go. So I'm coming back into my RecDesk site. I'm going to log in and I want to test this email. Just remember that these are email templates and that by editing this, it is possible that some characters you enter in might break the email template. So make sure you test before you send this. So I'm going to come in here to my members, bulk email campaigns, and I'm going to create a new campaign. This is going to be my testing campaign. I just want to see what this looks like. So I'm going to come in here, give it my testing campaign, or I can call it my soft reopen. And then my subject line, we are opening. And I can select my recipients, but I'm going to do that later after I test it. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to click on HTML, I'm going to paste all of that stuff that I previously copied. And now when I click on that preview, you'll see it now has RecDesk. It has clickable links. So if I click on this and open up in a new tab, it will take me to my YouTube channel. So that works. So you're going to test all of the links. Yes, I can see that it included that photo. I did make a spelling error, as this is supposed to be June and not J, but you get the idea. If I need to make any additional edits, so I want to change that to actually say June, I can do that. I'm going to come back here, I'm going to click on normal, and I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to type in June 1st. Okay, and you can make any additional edits. So in that Excel, that is where you get the content to display. When you come into this part of the system, this is where you're going to make it look good. So like I said, we don't have a Twitter page. So I'm going to highlight that Twitter button and just hit the delete on my keyboard. And now I don't have a Twitter button. If I need to, I can make certain things bigger. So I can highlight this outdoor run club and I can increase the size. And just because I want it to balance, I'm going to make it bigger on both sides. And that is my email template. So now, scrolling to the very bottom of this page, I can send a test email. So I can come in here and I can type in my email address. And I'm going to test send it to myself. So now that that email has been test sent to myself, I'm going to come in here to my RecDesk email, and I'm going to pull it up for you. So here it is right here. So you can see how it came in. Everything looks good from this standpoint. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up on my phone or make this really small, and you can see how everything auto adjusts as well. Okay. And you're going to test the same thing on your tablet. Okay. Now just note that this does shrink off this side. So on a phone, they'll have to scroll left and right. But what I'm looking for is I'm trying to make sure that nothing is out of the ordinary. So test it. Once you feel comfortable with that, I'm going to come back into my system right here. I'm going to select my recipients. And now I can go ahead and I can filter who I want to send it to. So I'm going to send it to myself, or I'm going to send it to all of my contacts, or just the people that signed up for that program or facility. And now I can save this for send. And now it's going to be sent out of the system. So that is email templates. Again, this is the first time that we're giving people the ability to play around with these and play with them. So we would love your feedback on this. If you like them, that is great. If you're looking for something more, maybe you need another email template, maybe the one for refunding, let us know so that way we know how to develop these so it meets the needs of you and your community. And we will work on getting you links to those pages later on, again, either later on tonight or earlier tomorrow.
Yeah, if any of you want us to reach out directly and send this to you, as soon as we have it on a platform we can send you a link for, we can do that. So if you just type your email in. All right, everyone. Well, we'll leave the meeting open for a few more minutes. That way, if there's any questions that come in, we'll still be able to answer them. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining us today, and we hope you all have a great rest of your afternoon.